There was a time when I truly believed that I needed to live in a luxury home, eat at trendy restaurants, have a career that made people go, wow, when I said it out loud. I thought that once I had these things, that I'd feel successful, that I would feel whole, that I would feel grounded. But it turns out that none of those things actually made me feel that way. So in this video, I'm going to break down things that I thought that I needed and why letting go of them changed everything. At some point, most of us buy into this idea of what success really should look like. A beautiful home, a cool job, a relationship that looks good on paper or in photos. It's kind of like the default template. We don't question it, we just kind of start chasing it. And in my case, I thought I needed to live in a designer looking space, have a packed social calendar, and build a career that would make people go, that's very impressive. I was checking the boxes. There came a point where I started asking myself, who exactly am I doing all of this for? Because the more I achieved, the more I realized that I didn't actually feel any more grounded. I actually didn't even feel like myself anymore. And in fact, I started to feel kind of lost in life. And that is when it hit me. A lot of what I was chasing was not even mine. It was someone else's version of fulfillment. And I was just borrowing it, hoping that I would fit into the same box or the same life that I see other people having. So a few years ago, I was like deeply unhappy with my life. And weirdly, it looked like a perfect life from the outside. I was in a relationship, had a full packed social life. I lived in one of the nicest neighborhoods in LA, a career that I actually loved, but almost everything around me felt off. And I know someone out there knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then the other part, you know how when you're dating someone, their life kind of becomes yours? Their friends become your friends. Their choices start shaping your own routine. And that's what started happening to me. And I didn't realize at that point how much of myself that I had lost within this process. And the only thing that felt like mine, that was truly still mine, was my work. But when that relationship ended, it felt like everything fell apart. But also, it felt like I got my life back. And then all of a sudden, I had this chance to ask myself, what do I really want to do now? Without anyone else's voice in my head. And this is the moment I still remember. I promised to myself that I would only build a life that felt like mine. Not perfect, not impressive, just an honest life. What I really needed was freedom. The kind of freedom that comes from when you stop forcing yourself to fit into a life that is not actually yours. Especially now with social media and doom scrolling, I think so many of us fall into this trap of building boxes around ourselves because we see other people's lives and we somehow want to replicate their life, but we don't realize that the only thing we're doing is we're creating boxes for ourselves. We compare, we mimic, we perform, and eventually we feel trapped. And through this process, we also lose a sense of self. We stop writing our own story, but instead we start following someone else's story. And you can't stay in a relationship just because it looks good from the outside, because eventually things will fall apart. And strangely, that's not the end. That's life pulling you back to yourself. And when these types of relationships end, we feel like, life is ending and everything is falling apart. We're going off track, but actually the opposite happening. You're actually getting back on track. When my life fell apart, when my relationship ended, when I moved, when everything shifted, I could finally breathe again. I didn't give up on ambition. I didn't stop dreaming big. I just started doing it with less pressure and more honesty. I didn't need a perfect plan. I didn't need to prove anything. I needed the freedom to choose again, to start over, to change direction, to build a life that felt like it was mine. And having that freedom gave me so much clarity, and that clarity gave me the confidence to rebuild from a more honest place. Letting go of the things that I thought I needed didn't make my life smaller. It made my life more honest. And here's what I've realized. There's no right way to live a meaningful life, but there is a wrong way, living a life that doesn't feel like it's your own. We all have our own timing. We have our own version of success, our own rhythm. And yeah, I still want beautiful things. I still have big goals. I still love the thrill of building, dreaming, evolving. But the difference is that now I'm doing it without the pressure to prove anything, without the need to look a certain way while doing it. So if you're in a place right now where things feel like they're falling apart, maybe it's not the end. Maybe it's the start of something more honest, something that's more you. You don't have to hold on to a version of life that no longer feels like it's yours. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to want different things. You're allowed to start over as many times as it takes. I hope this video resonated with some of you. If you're going through a hard time right now, if you're going through something difficult, just know that staying true to yourself and being honest with yourself, the outcome will always be something that is beneficial to you and your future and your peace of mind. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.